Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talking Tea Time with Dr. G and the Doctors. This evening, I am sipping on original fresh brewed tea from Quick Trip. When we return, we will be discussing tonight frat life and why individuals decide to join a fraternity. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Talking Tea Time with Dr. G and the Doctors. So, of course, you know I have my wonderful co-host with me. So to the right, hey, Dr. Smith, how are you?
How are you today?
I am awesome. And to the left, the one and only Dr. Lavon Singleton. How are you this evening?
What's going on? I'm
Hey,
good.
hey,
How
hey.
you doing?
So this evening, we are going to be discussing on Talking Tea Time with Dr. G and the Doctors fraternity life. And Dr. Singleton, I know that you are big on your fraternity and you're a big fraternity guy. So let's just start with what made you want to pledge Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated?
Wow. Well, interesting question. So, thank you, Dr. G. I think what made me want to pledge Kappa Alpha Psi, it was real simple for me. The impact that Kappa Alpha Psi has on the community that I grew up in was simply astonishing.
And what community is that?
That's the great city of East St. Louis.
All right.
Okay. East St. in the house. So again, when in school, my teachers were Kappas. You know, principals and administrators in the school district, they were Kappas. When you looked around the city and looked at the leadership, they were Kappas. You know, several former mayors and city managers and those individuals, they were Kappas. Legislators, you know, are Kappas. And so to me, it was a no-brainer. It was simply Kappa Alpha Psi, and it was certainly the presence and the impact that I saw those group of men have in the East St. Louis community that made me want to pledge Kappa.
Okay, so you just told us that there was no other choice. It was Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. And so when you decided that this was your fraternity of choice, were there a lot of sacrifices that you had to make? Were there a lot of challenges that you faced, you know, going through that whole process? Can you kind of just touch on that?
Sure. So I think Greek life is what you make of it. Certainly, there's a process in any organization. Some are much more stringent than others. But for Kappa Alpha Psi, in my experience, it was a very pleasant experience. It's a long and rough road in Kappa land, but I certainly appreciate all of the friends that I made. And by the way, today makes a decade for me in the fraternity.
Let's give it up for him, Dr. Smith.
It's my Kappa-versary.
All right,
today.
all right.
Congratulations.
And I talked to my ships earlier, and so we're just excited to just be a part of this brotherhood, this bond, and certainly there were sacrifices. Kappa Alpha Psi is a huge financial commitment. Okay, so you have to put your money where your mouth is. It's a huge time commitment. I am currently the president, and we call the president in our organization is called the Polemarch, 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 and it stands for president or leader. And so I am currently the president of the East St. Louis Alumni Chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity. So it's a huge sacrifice in time, and it requires quite a bit of financial obligation, commitment, always supporting other organizations. If you want people to support you, then you find yourself often supporting other organizations as well.
Okay. So where was Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity founded? What college? There we go.
All right. Kappa Alpha Psi was founded on the night of January 5th, 1911, on the campus of Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana, by 10 revered founders.
Oh, revered. You heard that right. Revered.
Absolutely. 10 revered founders, the most revered being Elder Watson Diggs, and along with 9 other African American men. And there's a story, if you don't mind me sharing, behind Kappa Alpha Psi. We've got the slogans, the frat so nice it had to be named twice, and you hear those fancy jingles and all of that kind of stuff. But there's a story, Kappa Alpha Psi was not founded on an HBC campus. We were founded in the heart of the Ku Klux Klan territory. Okay,
wow.
Our founder ventured from Howard University to attend Indiana University in Bloomington, and at that time, the Ku Klux Klan was a major faction against African American, especially students. So can you imagine 111 years ago, African Americans, the racism and the things that they faced? And so we've got 10 founders who really were committed to the cause, and our fundamental purpose is achievement. They were committed to the fundamental purpose of achievement. And so they got together and they stuck together and they mentored and they helped each other. And so all of our founders have prominent roles or play prominent roles, not only in the fraternity, but in life. Several were doctors, dentists, attorneys, Air Forcemen or military men, journalists. And so the list goes on and on about the achievements and the accomplishments for the members of our organization. So
I find this very interesting because I was me in college, so I didn't pledge anything. But I find that the sisterhood and the brotherhood that every fraternity and every sorority that they represent is a great thing. But what I do find, and I'm on the outside looking in, Dr. Singleton, but I do find that it could be a little competitiveness there lies in between the brother and the sisterhood. So I'll ask you a couple questions, and because this is just stuff that I want to know. So for example, when you see other brothers and other fraternities, I know that you believe that your fraternity is the best, which I'm sure everybody feels that way, right? Every man that I would be introduced to and they're in a certain fraternity, they feel theirs is the best. But how do you still come together? You know what I'm saying? Because it is an edge of competitiveness, but how do you still come together and get stuff done? And then how do you, that's my first question. And then even amongst your brothers within the Kappa land, we'll call it, how do you all still try to stay in sync? Because you all want to be the best. And I applaud that, right? Like you all want to be the best, but sometimes the best brings brokenness and division.
Oh, sure.
So help us, walk us through.
Yeah. So let me attack the first part of the question with the whole other members of the Divine Nine and how we all come together. Even at our best, we have to realize that we need others, okay? And as a member of what I feel is the greatest organization known to man, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, I still believe that we have to come together for a common purpose, because the issues that plague our community are so much bigger than Kappa. They're so much bigger than Omega, Iota, Sigma, Alpha, okay? The issues, there are enough issues for us all to come together, to unify, and to attack those problems in the community. And so there is an organization called the Panhellenic Council, and the National Panhellenic Council, known as the Divine Nine. That is the one organization that everybody belongs to, and that everybody comes together and performs service through. The Panhellenic Council in East St. Louis has a humongous presence in the community, And we worked. We do reading programs. We go into the schools and we read to the children. We service the senior facility homes. Recently we took on a project where we provided scarves and hats and gloves and things like that to some of the senior communities in the areas that we serve. And so, again, just to answer your question, it's bigger than Kappa, okay? It's bigger than Kappa, and there are enough issues for all of us to attack some of the problems that exist in the community. Now, come back with the second part of that question.
So
Dr.
now, the brotherhood of Kappa is there. You all want to be the best of the best, in your roles and responsibilities. So I'll give you a prime example. The metropolitan area, to me, has a lot of Kappa groups, I guess I'm saying. I don't know if I'm even speaking the right lingo for you, Dr. Singleton, but it's a lot of groups over there. So why not just unify and come together as one? Why have one here, one there, if your cause is all the same?
Sure.
Is it because one person wants to be a chief here and one person wants to be a chief there? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah. So even in as good as we think we are, there's always some competitiveness, if you will, in a lot of organizations. It's the same reason that you've got a liquor store on every corner.
Absolutely.
Okay, why not just walk to that corner and get what you need? But we all have a area that I like to call that we serve. Okay. For us and my organization, which I'm the leader, is the East St. Louis area, and that's our primary focus. Kappa Alpha Psi does have several chapters around here, St. Louis being one of the largest, and they serve the St. Louis metropolitan area, or the St. Louis area, if you will. On the Illinois side, East St. Louis serves our area, and there's a Belleville O'Fallon chapter. They service those areas, and as recently as maybe in the last 10 years or so, there's an Edwardsville, Collinsville area, and they also serve those areas. So as competitive as we are, and as much as we like to achieve in every field of human endeavor, there are times where we do branch off and we focus our efforts in certain communities. As I said earlier, the need is so great.
But could you unify as one? Could it be done, or no? It doesn't make sense. I don't know. So absolutely, we have a motto, a mantra in our organization that says one Kappa. So at the end of the day, we are one organization. One organization, one brotherhood, servicing various segments and fragments of the community. So we are one. I'm a Kappa in East St. Louis. I'm a Kappa wherever I go. And so that is certainly it should be noted that there's only one Kappa. However, do we service various other segments of the community? Absolutely.
Alrighty. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we are going to wrap this conversation up about being part of a fraternity, and we are focusing tonight on Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. We'll be right back.
Touchdown! Did you see that? Whoa, we scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs.
Welcome back to Talking Tea Time with Dr. G and the Doctors, and we have been discussing fraternity life. So, Dr. Singleton, let me ask you a question. I know that there is so much scrutiny now with fraternities and sororities. So can you just speak on that?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we are going through some unprecedented times in fraternities and sorority life right now. So many fraternities and sororities are finding themselves on the opposite ends of major lawsuits and litigation related to hazing and so many other issues that are plaguing Greek life. And so it is unfortunate that a number of sororities and fraternities over the past few years have issued cease and desist orders, even through COVID, that the organizations have found themselves on the receiving end of major lawsuits. Because somebody just wanted to do some crazy stuff in a process. And we often have conversations in our own organization just about the risks associated with those kinds of activities. And so I just really think that the writing is on the wall. You know, if we continue at the trajectory that we are currently under, you know, 3-5 years from now, you know, a lot of organizations will have folded because one of the major costs of joining an organization is paying those fees, and those fees are enormous right now, and the major costs of those fees are related to those insurance premiums. So it's sad, but it's true. It's true that there is a lot of scrutiny right now with these social organizations being placed on cease and desist because of allegations of hazing. And so, you know, it's
so you can't control, in all honesty, you really can't control what goes on at that level when you're in college, can you? Now, if you decide to join after college, then it's probably a different process, I would assume.
Well, I wouldn't always say that.
Okay.
And I'll try to give the safest answer.
Okay.
Because in all actuality, it's the same people, you know. When I say that, I mean, you know, these are the same people that are part of the process at the college level. These are some of the same people that go back to their communities and be a part of the process after college as well.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Okay.
It's designed to do that. It's designed to be that way.
Okay.
But it does not always happen in those regards. And so, you know, we really have to be careful.
So, Dr. Singleton, since you're the leader of the East St. Louis branch, you know, what happens when you get whiff of hazing? You know, like when I was in college, it was part of the process, sadly, you know, to say, but it was part of the process. I'm sure things have changed from when I was in school. A lot of things have changed, but with the litigations and with the scrutiny, is it tough for you when you get a whiff of it? What happens behind those scenes that you can share? Some things you probably can't.
Sure.
But
sure.
What
I would say, Dr. Smith, and I'm gonna give the safe answer.
Okay.
And that is that Kappa Alpha Psi is a non-hazing organization, and so that's who we are. That's what we stand for.
Okay.
In the instances that something may arise, you know, then you've got people that are put in place to deal with those issues.
Okay.
And so, but our organization is a non-hazing fraternity.
Okay.
That was a great answer.
Yes,
Great
thank
answer.
you.
So let me ask you this, because I know that you interact with a lot of young men.
Sure.
There's a lot of young men in your family. So when you're interacting with them, is it Kappa land and that's the only answer?
Right.
Or do you say, you can be a Greek, but I would prefer you be a Kappa?
So you want people to make their own decisions, obviously, but you want to live in such a way that, you know, that's who they want to be.
They want to be a Kappa
right,
because
they
of how
wanna
you
be.
carry yourself.
You know, you can't want it more for anybody than they want it for themselves. And so I try to live a decent example in front of my family, my nephews and cousins. I've got several cousins that have come into the organization, you know, and so, you know, I would say that, you you know, while I would love for all of my friends and family to be to wear this crimson and cream,
Yes.
I certainly will respect whatever choice they make, and so, you know, that's it's up to them. But I'd like to see them as a Noops.
Okay. Now,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
No,
so
go
I
ahead.
just heard you just use that word noop. So just can you like give us like a little 2-minute background of that word noop?
Ooh.
Let's stay safe.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
This is a
right,
kid-friendly show.
Right. We're just gonna stay safe. Noop is nothing more than a nickname
Okay.
for a Kappa,
Okay.
and so we won't get into all of the dialogue about
Yeah, okay.
you know this and that. So
Right.
Noop is a nickname
Okay.
for a Kappa. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I can say being a Greek, and if you notice, I have on my colors, my pink and
Absolutely,
green. 'Cause
absolutely.
I love the ladies of Alpha.
Yes.
Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Yes.
Hey, ladies. And so for me, and I heard you say this, it was always AKA for me.
Okay.
Because I had those teachers that were AKAs.
Yes,
I had
yes.
those family members that were AKAs. So it was like instilled in me that you want to be an AKA. They didn't necessarily say you better be an AKA, but it was like that was all I really knew. So I had already determined in my mind that it was going to be the pink and the green
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
And so, Dr. Singleton, let me ask you this. For that young person
Yes.
that's in college right now and they're trying to figure out, do I go this direction or do I go that direction? What advice would you give them when they're seeking
Yes.
Greek life? I want to be a part of the Greek life, but where do I go? How do I make that decision?
Yeah. So it's simple. You do your research, okay? Research all the organizations, okay? For me, it was obvious. One of the things that exposed me to Kappa was in high school. My counselor, my senior counselor was a Kappa, okay? And, you know, he took care of me, made sure that I was top of the class and went on field trips to Washington, D.C. and those kinds of things. If people invest at that kind of time, I also got a scholarship from the Kappas when I was in high school. So for me, it was a no-brainer. I went to college looking for or knowing that I wanted to be a part of Kappa Alpha Psi. But for those young men and women that are on college campuses, I would say do your research. You know, find out what these organizations stand for. Okay, find out what the ladies of Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated stand for. The ladies of Delta Sigma Theta, the ladies of Sigma Gamma Rho, Zeta Phi Beta. You know, find out what these ladies stand for, what these organizations stand for, and fellas do the same. You know, Kappa is not for everybody. We have a motto. We often say that many are called, but few are chosen. Okay, and so this organization is just not for everybody. And so that is not to say that there are not other organizations that people would certainly be benefit from and be a part of. But I would say do your research, you know, and see how they interact with each other. You know, if you're on college campuses and all the organizations that you're looking at, all they're doing is partying, look at their GPAs as well. I think that's important. You know, look at the community service that they're doing, you know. And so I think those are legitimate things to do, is to, you know, research, look at the service, you know, look at the quality of individuals that they're bringing into their organizations, and then make your decision from there.
And to piggyback off of that, I just want to say every college, for people that do look, every college is different with their fraternity and sorority presence. Because you might go to one school and it might have a heavy presence of a certain fraternity or a certain sorority where they're more active and they're doing more in the community. And that same fraternity, ooh, I'm getting tongue-tied, that same fraternity in another state, their presence might not be as strong. So when you're looking, I think you need to look even more at a deeper level than just at that place.
Sure,
You
sure.
have to look at what do they really stand for. And then this is another question just for me. When I was taking my son on college visits, I noticed that some schools didn't even have a presence of fraternities or sororities.
Sure.
So help me understand why not? Like, why don't they have a presence there?
Yeah. So, in a lot of instances, if you go to college campuses and there is no presence of fraternities and sororities, a lot of times it could be the fact that they probably have had their charters taken.
Oh, okay.
And they have been suspended or banned from certain campuses.
Oh, okay.
There are instances where Greek life on different campuses cease to exist, or their own cease and desist. A lot of my friends have gone through college and wanting to go through the pledge process, but unfortunately had to do it after college because the organization was not on college campuses at that time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what you often find is that because some previous misconduct has happened, that the organizations are no longer on campus.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons. In some areas, there's just not a presence of those organizations on some of the smaller campuses, and so it's various reasons.
Okay.
So as we bring this episode to a close,
Okay.
I've known you for a long time.
Yes.
And I know that there's two things that you love. You love East St. Louis, and
I
you
do.
love Kappa Alpha Psi
Wow.
Fraternity Incorporated.
Yes.
And so as we close,
Yes.
can you just leave a little nugget, just look into the camera and leave a little nugget to that young man that's wanting to be a Kappa man,
Yes.
and just give him like 30 seconds of this is why you need to be a Kappa man.
Wow. So, young man, if you are interested in becoming a member of this organization, first of all, do your research. Make sure that you know what this organization stands for, what it's all about. Know the history, know the importance of what the diamond stands for, what this fraternity is all about.
Thank you, Dr. Singleton. So again, we have been discussing fraternity life, and we have the honor of having Dr. Lavon Singleton with us, who is a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. So stay tuned, because we are going to be having all of the Divine Nine on the show. And so stay tuned so you can learn, and if you're wanting to be a part of a fraternity or a sorority, stay tuned, listen to us, we can give you some great information. All righty, you all stay safe and stay healthy. And Dr. Singleton, can you just take us out with a hand signal that you all do? Hey, take us out. There it is. All right, you all. Bye-bye. Stay safe.